On the F1 subreddit some time ago, there was disappointment that with the increasing likelihood of Ricciardo staying at Red Bull, the 2019 driver market that once promised to be chaotic and full of surprises was going to be a drawn-out period where everybody stayed where they already were. But it could be wrong. There is one possibility still standing that could throw the driver market back into chaos once again. That is, a rumour has circulated among several motor racing news outlets in the past fortnight that Lawrence Stroll, father of Lance, has expressed an interest in buying the Force India team, who have teetered ever closer towards collapse due to financial constraints. In fact, some say it could be as soon as this week for this to occur. Now, of course, there's every chance that this may not occur, and should that be the case, I fully suggest watching the F1 Words video on the 2019 driver market, and his predictions are identical to mine for nearly identical reasons. However, for this video, we'll look into the timeline of what could happen if this transaction takes place. So for background, why is this even a possibility? Force India are a team who have never been blessed in the way of finances, and whilst they have been used to house future Mercedes talent in a Mercedes-powered car, they are not a so-called B team in the way that Toro Rosso and Alfa Romeo Sauber currently are. They're largely on their own in terms of finances, and in the modern-day world of F1, where the size of the wallet speaks louder than anything else, their chairmanship under a questionable businessman now facing charges, the penny may have finally dropped, and they're going to need to find a new buyer. So say that they do, and we see Lance move to Force India. What happens then? Well, moving through the teams, starting with Williams, they'll need someone to fill that seat. They'll also need someone with money, and this time they also have the opportunity to put a little bit more insight in that seat. Given that at least one of the two Force India drivers are now released from their old team, you could suppose that they're an option. However, I don't see that happening at all. Ocon is rumoured to be nailed down by Renault already at Sainz's expense, and Perez isn't going to want to take his money to a team lower down the field. He may not have moved from the upper midfield, but we know he's the type to want to be looking forwards. And as for the other pay drivers out there, any others racing in lower formulae simply don't or won't have the super license points required to race. Could this be then that Robert Kubica finally has the chance to step up? He does have the money. It was primarily the fact that Sirotkin just had more money come the start of the 2018 season that prevented him from getting a seat this year. Close sources even said that a couple of weeks beforehand Robert was 90% nailed down for that seat. So, therefore, he has a level of experience and backing from Grupa Lotos, the Polish oil firm. This is the best chance he will get should the opportunity arise. We've mentioned the Force India drivers of Perez and Ocon. Where do they go? For as long as Force India have a contract to run Mercedes engines, the Silver Arrows will attempt to house future talent in F1 if they can. Plus, Ocon is thought to be good friends with Stroll, so he is a good bet to remain with the team should they have to pick one, should the Renault rumours prove to be untrue. Lance Stroll is also said to be wanting Robert Kubica as a teammate, but for so long as Mercedes have a potential hand in operations, they will want to house future talent, so George Russell would be a likelier bet. Some would say Pascal Wehrlein, but Mercedes seem to hitch their bets nowadays more on Russell and Ocon, and Mercedes will know, just as well as the other teams that Pascal has worked for, that he is a potential difficulty to work with. It's worth noting too that both Force India drivers are out of contract at the end of this year, so there are no contract breaches involved here. But where does that leave Sergio Perez? There's been no clear desires for him to leave Formula One, so he's going to be looking for somewhere to take his large amounts of backing and huge Central American following. And frankly, there's a perfect candidate to take him on. Haas. It is assumed that Haas are going to keep Kevin Magnussen on, given the solid job he's been doing for the team this year. Although, the same cannot be said yet about his teammate. The American outfit have said that they wish to return the loyalty Grosjean has given them, taking the bold option of signing for a debutant team at the start of 2016. Although he's not under contract yet for 2019, Formula One is a brutal world. With Sergio Perez knocking on the door with a large pot of gold from Carlos Slim's backing, and the history of him being an extremely solid driver, it is going to be very, very tempting not to turn that offer down. Haas aren't exactly rich either, with the system the FIA uses to distribute finances meaning that they have received the least amount of money by quite some distance. Who knows, that backing could even pay to replace some of the parts Grosjean's broken throughout the year. Of course, there are plenty of other potential occurrences that could swing the outcome of the market even further, but for now, Lance and Lawrence Stroll have emerged amongst the chaos of the opening 11 rounds of the 2018 F1 season as the surprise kingpins of the driver market. What's in store for us in the remainder of the season? We can only wait and see.